You know, some events in history are just so powerful, they change everything, almost overnight. The 1973 oil embargo, that's a perfect example. We're going to dive into how one single resource literally brought the world to its knees.
Seriously, think about that for a second. It's a huge question, right? And it really sets the stage for what we're about to get into. Because back in 1973, this wasn't just some what-if scenario. It was real. The world got a brutal first-hand lesson in the power of energy. And the answer, well, it was a shock to the system.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. This is where everything changed. For a long, long time, oil was just, well, it was just oil, a commodity, something you buy and sell. But then 1973 hit, and it turned into something way more powerful. It became a weapon. Okay, the T word here is strategically. You gotta understand, this wasn't an accident. It wasn't just some supply chain issue. Nope. This was a calculated, deliberate move. What happened was, in response to the U.S. supporting Israel during the Yom Kippur War, Arab nations that produced oil decided to use that control as a lever, a way to exert some serious geopolitical pressure. And wow, the effect was instant. It was like a shockwave just ripped through the global economy. But here's the thing. This wasn't your typical economic crisis. Not at all. The world was about to learn a brand new and very painful word. See, here's what's so crucial to get. People knew what a recession was. I mean, they're awful, but they were a known quantity. This was completely different. It was a whole new kind of monster, a combination of economic problems that, honestly, most economists didn't even think could happen at the same time. And that new word was stagflation. Yeah, let's just break that down real quick. Stagnation, that means the economy grinds to a halt, no growth, and people are losing their jobs. Then you've got inflation. At the exact same time, the price of everything from a loaf of bread to a gallon of gas is just skyrocketing. It was literally the worst of both worlds smashed together. This really spells out why this was so devastating. Think about it. In a normal recession, yeah, you might lose your job, which is terrible. But usually, prices either stay low or they might even drop a little. But with stagflation, you lose your job, and the money you do have is worth less every single day because prices are soaring. It's just a brutal, brutal economic trap with no easy way out. But, this went way beyond just economics. The embargo didn't just hit people's wallets. It completely redrew the map of global power. Let's take a look at how that happened. So before 1973, the world's big powers basically saw oil as just another resource, something you need to run your cars, power your factories. It was just business, a simple transaction. Well, that whole way of thinking was about to be absolutely shattered. And this quote, man, it just says it all. This was the turning point. Suddenly, oil wasn't just fuel anymore. It was leverage. Real power wasn't just about having the biggest army or the strongest economy. It was about controlling the energy that made all of that possible. And just like that, this was the new normal. The world became a much more unstable, unpredictable place. If you controlled the energy, you had a guaranteed seat at the head of the global table. And for everyone else, it meant you had to figure out how to survive in a world where financial stability was no longer a given. So you might be thinking, okay, this happened 50 years ago. Why does it still matter? Well, because its legacy is literally all around us. The world we live in right now was shaped, truly forged in the fire of that crisis. All right, let's do a quick recap of the big takeaways here. First, the 1973 embargo proved, without a doubt, that energy could be a geopolitical weapon. Second, it kicked off an era of financial instability that, frankly, we're still dealing with today. It completely reshuffled the deck of global power. And maybe most importantly, it was a massive wake-up call. The entire world was forced to look in the mirror and confront its total dependence on oil. And that kind of leaves us with one last big question, doesn't it? 50 years later, yeah, the world has changed. We have new tech, the political map looks different, but has our fundamental reliance on energy really gone away? Have we truly learned the lesson of 1973? Or have we just swapped one dependency for another? That's definitely something to chew on.